It's really awesome to have you guys all here. Thank you so much for attending this webinar. Woon, I actually was talking about you today, so it's really awesome to have you here on the call. I'd love to connect to you in the end before we disappear, the two of us, because I was like, oh, I had you on my to-do list to ring. But anyway, webinar number 2. So last week we had Lisa share with us a little bit about how to create engaging content so that we have our participants engaged and like really with us, and for us to really use this to not only give them value but also to create an epic circle and micro school, which people will be raving about, so that we can use this later on as a lead magnet. And today we have Kathleen here. I have a little bit of an introduction for Kathleen, but in reality, I think between all of us, I don't think that Kathleen really needs much of an introduction. We all know she's incredible and amazing and just an inspiration to all of us. So thank you so much, Kathleen, for being here with us on the call.
Thanks, Paulina. Hi, guys.
No pressure. So are you still in the beautiful Greek islands?
Yes, I am. Yeah, we're here. This is our final week here now, so enjoying the last of it. Today's the last day of my working week, and then I get my long weekend, and then, yeah, I'll be headed back to Portugal after this.
Oh, fabulous. Because that's what you do, right? When you're in Europe, you swim from Greek islands to Portugal. Such a tough life. Love it. All right, let me start sharing my screen. Today will be really short from my end, and then we'll jump in, and Kathleen will help us give us a little bit of an overview about Genius U and how to create a micro school so that we have the technicals, and then we'll do a live Q&A in the end. So for any questions you might have as you're building, we can do this as well. So just a quick summary, obviously 4 different weeks. We are starting in 2 weeks. We have about over 80 participants who have signed up so far. So it's a really good response. We've got 2 more weeks of selling, and we are busy now picking up the phones and calling everyone to make sure that we have everyone onboarded and that they're picking the modules and everything for us. Our 4 mentors, for those of you guys who haven't been here facilitators, for you guys who haven't been there last week, we have Terry, Kyron, Laura, and myself facilitating the 80 students so far. We will all have 20 students each. So this time around, in comparison to the Crisis Leadership Academy, every student will know who is their facilitator and who to reach out to. And the reason why I wanted to share the facilitators with you guys again is because they will be also your support crew on, we have the community managers who will be supporting you on the ground. But if you want to brainstorm anything or have any challenges with your participants or any questions around the participants, your facilitators will be the ones to touch base with, which is really awesome. First week, the facilitators taking all the participants through the Agile Leadership micro school, which is all about creating their promotion plan, because we want to make sure that those 4 weeks go hand in hand with the promotion plan structure we teach, and that everything we create for the students will feed back into the promotion plan. So it'll be quite handy that they have one, at least a start of a promotion plan. Then we go into week 2 to 4. That's where we come in as mentors. And what we do is we have 3 sessions a week. We have a Monday, Wednesday, and a Friday session. That is where we deliver our content. And then, I'm lying, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday session where we deliver our content. We have a live Q&A on Thursday. We are starting this week to map out where all the participants are from. So hopefully by next Wednesday, I'll have a little bit more information with you guys on that. And then on Fridays, we will get the participants to present, where we can then give them a live coaching session per se, giving them feedback on what they've created, which is really awesome. You also see that on Tuesdays, they have small feedback sessions. So the facilitators connect with all our participants once a week. Every group is a group of 4. And so the facilitators will be all jumping in with those groups, helping them work on their promotion plan and making sure that the students know which part of the promotion plan your module fits into. Right. So what we expect, the expectations is, you know, we start on the 31st of August. It's a week long, so it's 5 days, short and sharp for us. 3 live training sessions, 1 feedback sessions, which is with the facilitator, 1 Q&A with the mentor, and then 1 session on the Friday where they present. What is involved for you are those 5 sessions. Now, we had some of you guys ask us, and I just thought I'll jump into this here, is it 60 or 90 minutes? So that will really depend on you guys and how you present your content. So for example, my sessions are very much mastermind. So I'll go and say, okay, here's a little bit of what I want you to present, and then I'll ask them to work on it, and then I'll give them feedback. So my sessions will be probably a little bit more 90 minutes than 60 minutes. But we have told the participants that all the live sessions will be between 60 to 90 minutes. So it's down to how you present your content. So that was a good question. And then we'll go actually straight to Kathleen. Kathleen, did you like the picture I picked? I didn't have your official picture. So before...
That's great. I don't think I have an official picture.
Oh, you don't? Okay. Well, I was like, I just went onto your Facebook page and just stalked you. So that was quite fun, looking at all the experiences you've had over the last couple of years and all the photos which were taken of you. But I really love that one. And we will jump straight into, for everyone, with Kathleen. She will share and show us how to build the micro school. So like the how-tos and how to think about the Genius U, so all the in and outs. We all know Kathleen. Is that your official title, Genius U Head of Products?
Yes.
Yes, perfect, because I was like asking 3 people and they all 3 had a different title for you. So all that meant for me was that you just like the magic secret weapon in the background, making everything happen. Genius U. That's how I got it when I asked the 3 people. And I will stop sharing my screen, Kathleen, and I'll ask you to jump in and get started.
Sorry about my background noise. There appears to be someone riding a very loud jet ski.
Honestly.
Yeah, super inconvenient. I've never seen it here before. So, all right, we're going to jump into it. On the Genius U side, so I product. What that basically means is Genius U, the platform, is the product, very similar to Facebook is a product, and I oversee the development of the tech platform. So everything that you see happening, I have an amazing team that is working on all of this at all times, and we're always speccing out new things, new developments, and measuring the success of anything that we launch. So on the micro school side, we have had long awaited an update to all of the courses on Genius U. So we've been talking about micro schools, we've been talking about micro degrees, we've been talking about all these other elements, right? And you might be wondering, but what's the difference between all of them? I get it. Don't worry about it too much. I'll walk you through everything. There's definitely like a number of different tabs and stuff here, but this is the new curriculum page. This is accessible to people who are not logged into Genius U. It's also accessible to you if you are logged in. And if you are logged in, you'll also have this handy dandy progress tab, which is actually going to show you all of the degrees that you've started and the progress that you've made through them, and then what you need to do next, and also some recommended courses. But the priority page that you're looking at is the micro school page, or even the featured page, because at the top of the featured section, we have micro schools, because micro schools are really what we want to be pushing on the platform. And the reason for that is when you as a mentor are running a micro school, you are engaging with your audience, you are actually like running them through a time period. What we've seen online is that people are more likely to take courses that have a beginning and end date and have a group intake, because then there's all of the fun stuff like group motivation, like actual transformational experience happening because you're engaging with a facilitator, and community being built at the same time, right? So we actually already, like, you can schedule micro schools ahead of time now. So for example, you'll see that I've got my micro school up already. All I have done is built a welcome page. I haven't put any content in here yet. I just filmed a welcome video the other day, which I'll be uploading as well. but you can already see my micro school on the homepage. I've put a start date. It's arbitrary right now. I don't think that's actually when my session starts, so I need to fix that. But you can see already like what my outcomes are, like what the actual description is of the degree. I'm the mentor, like you can see my bio is on here as well. And there's going to be a video on here once I upload it, right? The other person who's uploaded their micro school welcome page is Allison, who is here. And what you'll see here is like the steps are locked. People can't get past this first page, but what it's doing is already giving you visibility and attraction on the very first page of Genius U on the curriculum section. So definitely worth you in the next week just getting your welcome page up, even if you don't have all the content yet, because then you're going to be able to actually just have people seeing what it is you're about. And then also, you know, the people, the facilitators of the group can actually be showing, oh, look, like you could check out, like these are the different options for the next 4 weeks that you can be choosing from. So what I'm going to do is just take you through like what the best structure is to set this up, so that you can go ahead and do this in the next little while as well. So all of the everything on Genius U is nested under companies. Now, the reason for that is obviously like they're either nested under your profile or companies. Companies kind of act as your like umbrella profile. But what you'll see is, none of my pages have loaded. There we go. So what you'll see is like under my degree, you've got my name and my circle name. Now, I haven't nested this under my company, and the reason for that is my company circle is public. It's very likely for you, your company circle is also public. If this was one of your own courses, so you weren't selling this inside of like a larger Genius U program or Genius Group program, I would say nest it under your company circle. But because you're going to have like a little community, the way that the Genius Institute team has set it up, you're going to have your own little private community, and in there they're going to have access to the degree. So you're actually going to set up a separate circle for this particular course. And later on, you can move it under your company circle if you're then looking to bring it just to your audience. But I would say to begin with, for this purpose, you're going to need a circle that's just related to the Entrepreneur Summer School, right? So for me, I've got my remote work micro school circle, which is where I've set up this degree. So what you're going to do to set up a circle is you're actually just going to go to the drop-down menu of circles. I believe you can also access this section from your dashboard. There's a circle section on your dashboard that you can open, and there's just a button to create a circle. It's very straightforward. There's a whole bunch of places you can create a circle from, but basically all you're doing is putting in a name, a banner image, and like a description, right? So you'll just see mine's the description for the remote work startup micro school. I've just copied and pasted that description over. And when people elect to join my micro school, they're also going to be joining this circle so that we can have conversations about the course content and run lives and whatever, right? Pauline, you've unmuted yourself. Would you like to add something?
Yeah, I just wanted to jump in. So because there was a question in the chat about the welcome page. So you talked about the welcome page on the micro school. We as a team, the Genius U team, are building you a welcome page for your circle. So in the circle, there will be next to discussions, there will be a tab called welcome page, and that's where we have an additional introduction to people. That's what you guys provided us the information with. Just so, and I can share it shortly. I can show you an example shortly when you finished. But it was just a question.
I was just pulling up the gem circle, which has a good example of a welcome page. So perfect. The welcome page in your circle is actually kind of like it's almost like the handbook. It's kind of like where people can go to see like, oh, this is where I need to go to see my links. This is what the content's going to be on, like just all of the information. So if you need an example of what that looks like, the Genius Entrepreneur Mastermind Circle, which you're all a part of, has a pretty good example. So it's got here just like the outline of what you get, what the first steps are, how to access your resources, where to post a question, what micro degrees you should take, and the FAQ. So it's just kind of like we use the welcome page as almost like a landing page for people when they join a circle to understand what it's all about. Your welcome page on your micro school, on the other hand, is specifically on what is your micro school all about, which is what is actually going to be the content in here. And because of like the release of this whole feature library at the same time as the release of the Entrepreneur Summer School, probably some of this is going to feel like it overlaps a little bit, or like, you know, why do I have to do both? The actual technical release happened at the same time as the program is now being designed. So we're all learning for next time, because there's definitely some ways that we could probably smooth out this process. But once you create your circle, so I've got my circle here, you're just going to go into the degrees section. and create a degree. And then you're going to have all of these options. And here, if you want, you can have a little leisurely read about how we see each of the different kinds of courses being offered. In short form, a micro school is a live course where you have a mentor and it's available for a limited time. A micro course is a micro degree that can be scheduled. So it's where clients do it themselves. They don't necessarily have a live mentor, but you can still schedule it over time. So a micro course can still be something that like comes out on a set date and ends on a set date, but people are doing it on their own. A certification is like when you want to give someone a certificate. It's like a train the trainer, right? So you're able to actually certify people to be able to deliver something that you teach. And then you have your micro degree, which is just a standard run-of-the-mill do-it-yourself course at any point in time. Like it just lives there. It might be your like ongoing lead magnet or your evergreen. In the future, we're going to make it available for you to transfer a course across different types, so that if you want to be able to just like turn your micro school into then an evergreen lead magnet, we're going to allow you to do that. But that's not currently live, so you won't currently see an option to be able to do that. So what you're going to do is come in here, click create, and just hit micro school. And then you're going to get this beautiful, very straightforward form to fill out. I do recommend as you build your micro school that you actually have like the content you're building elsewhere. Never trust technology, whether it's GeniusU or any other platform. There's always possibility something's going to fail. So if you like are just writing it straight into GeniusU and then it doesn't save, or your internet cuts out or whatever, that's just bad. So don't do that. Definitely write it up in a Word doc or something that you actually have access to, so that then you can copy and paste stuff across and you're not actually trying to build it on a platform. That's just always what I recommend. But you can download a guide here, which is more of like how to create your content or what to add to your content. And then you're just going to hit let's get started. So you'll see here, you've got your overview. Because I'm an admin, I have access to everyone's circles. So I have to scroll a very long way to get to my circle, but you will just have your circles available here. You're just going to add the title of your micro school, the company you're attaching it to, the circle you're attaching it to, your description. This description is the one that shows up here. So make this one probably a bit shorter. I will probably cut mine down so it's just like a tiny paragraph, but this is just like very short description. This will show up on the homepage and stuff as well. There is a longer description as well that you can add to. So you've got your description, category, so just the category of micro degree. This in the end, we're gonna have a more extensive filter section on GeniusU. A badge, you can upload your own. You'll see I uploaded my own badge. This is gonna show up on someone's profile when they're doing or have completed the course. Your background image, this is the dimension. So you can create this on Canva, super easy. It's about the same dimensions as a business card template. And that's what shows up on the homepage. Choose whether it'll be free or paid. Because you will be hosting it inside, I would list it as paid, and then like you can then give people limited access to it. So basically we'll get the list of people who are in the who are in the course according to Entrepreneur Summer School, and then you can add them, which I'll show you in a moment. But it's probably best to keep it paid so that other people aren't accessing it for free. And then you can choose to list it as private or appropriate for children. This is more like if you were to do a Genius School course, you'd list appropriate for children, and then we'll list it under Genius School. And private is just if you don't want it to show up on the homepage, so people can only access it by link. You'll have your intro video if you have one, your welcome page text, which is about your degree. I've added all my about stuff in one section, but I would advise you to add your about down here. Benefits, which is just outcomes. This will show up as bullet points. So just get really clear on what your like key bullet points are and the outcomes are of taking your course. And then your mentor bio. So we've made it possible for you to add a different mentor so that if you don't want it to be you, you can do that. Oh, sorry, it's frozen. But obviously I recommend you all set it up under your own name. And you can add collaborators, and that's just other people that can edit your degree. So if you have team members or something that you're going to have uploading your content, or you've hired Allison or you've hired Lisa or whomever to help you work on your content, you can add them here, and it just means that they're going to be able to edit things for you. And then the endpoint is just your circle.
Jump in here? And
that's it. That's the whole welcome page. Yes, go ahead.
You guys, can you please make sure that you add me as a collaborator and our community managers? I will send you the links to who they are, because then at any point we can actually come and support you and help you here. So you can remove collaborators later, right?
Yes, you
Once
can.
you, yes. So yeah, for the Entrepreneur Summer School, if you just add even just me as a collaborator, I can then, if I need someone else to help you out, I can connect them in there as well. That would be awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm just going to open up the page where I have created my welcome page and then show you how I've created the scheduling function. So this is overview description. It is loading still. Sorry, give my Wi-Fi a second to catch up with me. All right, there we go. So, oh my gosh. Come on, computer, you can do it. It's too hot in this weather. Okay, so I'm gonna save and go to my next step. So you're just gonna save your welcome page, and then you're actually gonna create a step. And this is where the scheduling function comes in. We have a number of different steps. This is gonna look very similar to those of you that have built micro degrees in the past. The builder itself looks slightly different, but it's very much the same functionality. So you can add a playbook, which is just where you've got like a PDF or something that someone can download. You can add an assessment, which is either a question answer, so people will like type an answer in, or a slider assessment, which means that they're ranking themselves on like a bar. You can add either of those to your steps. This is more once we get into like the actual building of your course. A video training, which is just you add a link to a YouTube video and then you write some content, and so they're going to do that. Or a simple step, which is literally just written content. On all of these steps, you can actually add a submission form. So this just means that you're asking someone to submit something to you that you're going to review. So it might be a link to a Google Drive presentation if you're having them fill out a template, or it might be a link to their LinkedIn profile if you're doing a review on something, or it might be a Word document of like, you know, how they might lay out their presentation or whatever it is that you're asking them to submit. All you need to do as the mentor is fill in the description of the submission, and then it'll show up in the degree for the person, and they can always at any point add either a link or a file. So if you want one or the other, you just need to be clear in your description. And then the other function which you can add on all steps is a release date. So what I have done to actually schedule my micro school for release is I've put the very first step, this one here, to release on the 25th of August. Any step that comes after that is going to come after that date. So steps always go in consecutive order. If you want something to go earlier, you just need to move it. I am not going to move the congratulations page up because that would be really weird, but you can drag and drop your steps to actually reorder them at any point. You can, when you release it, choose the year. So if you know you want to launch something next August, go ahead and schedule it for 2021. And then you can actually add like the specific date and hit please note. By doing this, you're blocking all steps after this step. So you're just going to do that. You're going to schedule something. If you're going to upload your welcome page today, which I totally recommend you to do. I'm sure you've already got description and outcomes of your course because you had to add that to the stuff for Paulina already. But then all you're doing when you've done that is you're just finalizing. And when you hit finalize, it's going to come to me for review. I'm going to go in, I'm going to click approve because I know you're all Entrepreneur Summer School mentors, unless I see a really garish mistake, at which point I'll message you and say, hey, you've made a mistake here. But I'll have my eyes on it before it actually goes live, and then I'll just publish it and you'll have that welcome page live on GeniusU already. No steps will become available until after the date at which you have scheduled them. So if you come in here and you add all of your content and step one is still only releasing on the 25th, your stuff's only going to become available on the 25th or the date you schedule it. The other thing which you can do in micro school, which is actually embed another certification. So this isn't going to be relevant for right now, but this is relevant to obviously the Entrepreneur Summer School team because they can actually be creating a micro school that embeds all of your micro schools within it. So right now it says certification, but what we're going to allow people to do is actually embed any kind of evergreen course. So once your content is turned into an evergreen course, they'll be able to embed those into like a future micro school. But it also just means for you, when you're building micro schools in the future, you might choose to leverage other content on the platform or leverage your own content as well within it. And then it just adds as a step that people go and take.
Awesome. Couple of questions
I think is the whole,
before
go ahead.
So a couple of statements and questions. So video training. I would like you guys to jump in and create like the title for your video, because they are your step 1, step 2, step 3. But obviously you won't have a video because we are doing this live. So what will happen is that Shane and myself as the collaborators will pop in and populate this video. Populate that video after you've actually recorded it. So that brings me to number 2, is for your scheduling date of when this goes live. I would recommend to do it the day, because you can't put in a time, the day after you have had the recording. So your Monday session goes live on Tuesday, the Tuesday session goes live on Wednesday, because otherwise you will be putting out live things which don't have a video on them.
Yeah, and in that case, it might make most sense actually for, yeah, this is where it gets complicated, because I think in that case, it might make most sense for the team to actually just create the step on the day rather than scheduling a step that's then empty. Because if the mentors are writing the content anyway ahead of time and know, like, you know, this is the description of what's going to happen on that day, and then the team can then just add the description, copy the video link over, and then publish it. It might make more sense than having the mentor go in and create every single step based on the day after their presentation for each one. But I think that's going to be up to the comfort level of each mentor as well. Because like for me, I'll probably just go in and do it because I understand the system. But for some people, that just might be a lot of work or very complicated, especially because you can't actually publish a video step without having a video link in there. So you will have to actually have a placeholder video. I'll probably put some like cute puppies or something, and then if people accidentally see it, they'll see it's a placeholder. But yeah, I think potentially like, and this might be where like creating an outline might be a good thing, Paulina, for all the mentors. If we know that there's going to be 3 steps a week or 3 steps over the week, so then there's 3 steps that will have videos added, have each of the mentors add the description of what they're teaching that day, and then the 2 days in between either have some kind of like question assessment where you're encouraging people, because I know there's Q&A sessions where you're getting people to actually write in the micro school like what their biggest learning is, or rank themselves on a degree of understanding, but then some way in between the live sessions where you've then got like the video content going live afterwards, actually have people giving feedback and contributing and being part of the learning process, which is just very aligned with what Lisa was presenting last week in terms of actually making sure you're having people engage with the content rather than just sit and watch it. But yeah, I think in that instance, it might be best to like have an outline that all the mentors can fill out, not in the micro degree builder, that then can be transferred in either by themselves or by a team member who's going to help them.
Okay, awesome. I can create that for you guys. The other question was submissions. So we can create a submission tabs. Where do the submissions go?
Yes, so let me go back to my micro school page. So we have right now a members tab, which shows you people's progress, and you can actually open that, or we've got the option to download a CSV file. So, and I don't have it available because I don't have any mentees because I haven't pushed this live yet. So let me go back to the curriculum page so I can open a degree that has got this live. So for example, if I open the 10x Your Impact degree, I can see there are, once it loads, 4,000 mentees. I can click that mentees label. Everything with an underline is usually clickable, or if it's got a button, I'll open that in a new tab for you. And then the option up here is to download an XLS report. So this is what actually contains the question answers and the submissions. So it is a little bit manual. We are going to be integrating this into the dashboard of Genius U, but for right now, you do have to download it. So if you have a date at which you're having everyone like submit something, then I would bulk download after that so that you know that everyone's got things in by a certain deadline. And when you download that, and I'm going to download it, but it's not going to show anything because we don't have any submissions forms on the old degree. It actually shows the name and then links you to either the file or the URL that the person has uploaded, and it's all filtered by step and also user. So if you have like on step 3 a submission form, and also on step 5, you'll see those in different sections of the spreadsheet. So yeah, this is how you download and access submissions right now. It's taking a really long time to load.
No, awesome. And Deborah, you asked what time zone it goes live. It's the time zone of the mentor. So is that correct? If a step goes live, like say I'll put a step down live for the 25th, it will go live when it's the 25th in my time zone.
I believe it actually might be based on UTC, but I need to check with the developers. That's something that we want to improve as well, is actually allow you to set time zone. But right now, I believe it's all going to be centralized to UTC.
Okay, I will confirm that, Deb. See, we are learning, we are building this specifically for Genius, for the Entrepreneur Summer School. Well, some of it anyway. So Deborah, I will double check, we will double check and come back to you. So there's other questions. What do we do then if they need downloads, playbooks? Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, so Deborah, I will confirm with you if we're going to go pre-schedule or if we're going to go and do it live, and then we will give you the answers to this one. And I think that's all the questions so far. I hope I haven't missed anything. If I have missed anything, guys, if you can unmute yourself, and then we can have the conversation directly.
Yeah, just to be totally clear, we're putting the end point of our degree to the circle for summer school, so that we're actually creating that micro school in our summer school circle.
Yes.
All right, I just want to be absolutely sure about that. One of the other questions I asked the other day, Kathleen, has to do with if we repeat. Now, this doesn't necessarily go with summer school, but let's say we have a micro degree, and one of the things you said is they can't review till they get all the way to the very end. But if we're going to repeat that same micro degree, but the content is from the previous, like let's say there's a circle, a certain group goes in, then we're going to repeat that micro degree and a whole new group is going to come in. So we don't want the previous recording, we want the new recording. But those reviews from the previous time that we did it are not going to show up on that new time, because it'll be a new time, it'll be a new circle, a whole different group of people go in there.
Yeah, so I mean, I think there's a couple things here, right? So to understand, first of all, that a singular entity that is created, if it's a micro school, think of it as one entity, right? It has like its life cycle, but if you have people review that entity without creating a new one, it's going to stay there. If you then go and create another entity, a new micro school, so you hit the create button again, you create it from scratch, nothing is going to transfer. So if you want to use a micro school over and over again, my recommendation is to create a micro school, at the end, have people review it. And then if you're going to repurpose the content, but you want different videos, schedule it for release at a later date, change the links to the videos and leave the rest of the content in there, and the reviews will also remain, right? So you can use micro schools over and over again and like switch out individual stuff. It means the URL will remain the same. It means that like anyone who has previous access to it will have access to it, unless you've added them manually as a payment exemption, which is something you do that I didn't show anyone. But a payment exemption is just where you're adding someone by their GeniusU URL or their GeniusU email address, and it lets them access something that's paid for free. But basically, like if you then remove people, then they're not gonna be able to access it in the future. So there's ways for you to like relink things, change stuff around. If you have another circle, you can move the degree to that other circle in the future. So there are ways for you to like repurpose the same entity, but if you create a new entity, you can always assume that stuff is not going to transfer because you're creating it new again from scratch, right? So nothing moves over. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. And I'm just wondering if there's any way for the people who had access, like I just recorded it, all of their content, all of the ways, you know, when I answered their questions, it's in there. If I wanted to keep that same entity, there's really no way to give them access to those videos that are uniquely for their experience.
You could do this by adding, Kathleen, correct me if it's going backwards, but the way I can see it is that you add those videos as library content and label it microschool 1, 2, 3, whatever you want, right? Like microschool 31st of August, step 1, step 2, step 3, and then it will sit in the library. But it will also mean that the people who are coming in new and later on will have access to the old stuff as well as the new stuff.
Yeah.
Kathleen?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think there's a couple pieces to this.
That's why we've got you here.
Because you could definitely, like, you know, remove the videos and add them, or you could just like add extra steps in the micro school, right? Where you've got like one step that's like, oh, archival content from last session, and then everyone who was in the last session can go access it. But then at that point, you're promising them access to all future versions of the micro school as well, which you may not want to do. So yeah, I think like either you like, and maybe we need to add a function on GeniusU that allows you to like duplicate content from one course to another, in which case you could transfer it to a micro degree, just give access to the people that have taken the previous micro school, and then remove it from the micro school itself. So I definitely think that there's like smart ways that we can be thinking about how this develops. So these are great questions for me to hear. But for right now, like the best solution is to like probably stick them in the library or create one step of the micro school, or transfer them over to a micro degree where they can just access it ongoing. Well, which you'd have to do manually right now, but now I'm going to think about the duplicate function. So,
well, I'm wondering too if maybe if I could put all of the links on a PDF in the library so that everything, like there's not a bazillion things in the library, everything would be on one document that they could access for the previous course too. That might work as well.
I would probably, rather than doing it on a link on a document, I would probably write an article and archive the article, which could be like microschool 31st of August 2020. Here is the content where you'll find video A, B, C. Right here is the PDFs you can find for the submissions, etc., and have one article explaining all of it, being named after the microschool it belonged to, if you really wanted to do that.
Okay.
But I personally think that when you look back at what the point was of creating the microschool, and for us to join this and for us to repurpose later on, is to transfer the microschool or change it later into a micro degree, which I believe is in development right now, Kathleen just mentioned. And then it's a micro degree which sits there, and then people can go and access this micro degree, and you can create more than one micro degree in a micro school, Kathleen, right? And in a circle, you can attach multiple micro degrees to a circle, right?
yeah.
So you could keep the circle saying, hey, this is our micro school for the subject. Here's micro degree A for this date, and here's the micro degree for the second session and for the third session. So you can have multiple micro degrees sitting in one circle.
That sounds like that would really be the ideal thing to do, is to have a micro degree for it. Okay. Okay.
Because the whole point for us was, as mentors, was to utilize this as a lead magnet right at the beginning. So we can invite someone, go and say, hey, come and test us out, trial us. And this, you get access to the circle, you get access to the lead magnet, which is your micro degree, right? And then from there, there is for your future clients, there's a call to action to book a call with you or whatever it is, so that you can transform them into your next steps. Mm-hmm. So you can use it as your lead magnet.
I have another question. When we're doing Trusted Buyers Club, we're actually putting up a product that has a literal sales page to it. The micro school, so do we, I guess my confusion is, do we still do that and then create a micro school? And what you're calling a welcome page on the micro school is kind of like, to me, the sales page. But are we doing two separate things, or are we just doing one thing now? Like just the micro school?
So you can do it whatever way you want, but my recommendation is to use the micro school page, because when someone buys on a micro school page, they're getting immediate access. Whereas if you sell it as a product on the web store and then someone has to come in, then you have to manually add them if it's a paid course that you're listing as paid online. So, and another way to do that, like if you wanted to sell it as a product as part of a package of other things, you could create a free course but make it hidden and private, where it doesn't show on the home page and only shows in your circle, and then it's only accessible by link to the people that have access to it. So you can do it either way. It's really up to you where you want them to show up. In the future, we'll be listing probably micro schools, maybe in the store. I'm not totally sure. I think the curriculum page itself does a pretty good job at encompassing courses. So if people are looking for like educational materials or courses, we're going to imagine they're going to go to curriculum. Whereas if they're going to the product page, they're looking for like services or physical products or like ongoing coaching or like something that's more productized in a different way, not an educational course, right? So, and maybe there's ways that we need to like migrate things or show them in both places in the future. But right now, you do not need to, you can do it whichever way you prefer. Both areas of the site get a lot of traction right now. So when people are looking for learning content, they're definitely coming first to curriculum and not first to the web store.
Okay, and are we gonna do any, like, is there gonna be any blending of the Trusted Buyers Club badge on the micro schools, or are we kind of keeping that separate?
Right now that's separate. So if, and I think this is maybe more of a Trusted Buyers Club question than an Entrepreneur Summer School question, so I'll try to be brief. But if you're looking to have someone spend Genie Coin on your micro school, you would have to list it as a product in the web store right now, because we don't have the ability to buy micro schools with Genie Coin.
All right, very helpful.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Couple extra questions. So number one is set up our company. Yes, if you haven't got a company on Genius U yet, yes, you need to set up a company. So you have to have a Genius U profile. You need to have a Genius U company. Then you're going to set up the circle. The welcome page.
Sorry, yeah, go ahead. You keep going.
So the welcome page of that circle is we will be building for you. So that's why in the survey we asked what your circle was, so that we could attach that welcome page to it, that landing page. Yes, then the next step for you is to build your micro school. And then in the end, once the summer school is finished, you can transform the micro school into a micro degree. That's the steps. So yes, you got that right, Deborah. In regards to uploading videos, Rune asked if it's who uploads the videos. So right now, for ease of use for you guys, we are going to record, transform them into a YouTube link and make sure that it's there. If you specifically want to have, if you want to do this yourself, let's have the conversation afterwards. But at the moment, the plan is that we as a team, because it's going to be our Zoom links to the webinars, and then that will automatically record in our cloud. We can download it, we can transform it into a YouTube link, and then pass it, add it to your micro school to make it easy. Deborah, you also asked, do I need to set up 2 circles to micro schools? And as you have 2 topics, yes, it's 1 micro school and 1 micro degree. Sorry, 1 circle and 1 micro school per topic. And can we use Vimeo links for video? Good question. I don't actually know if Vimeo links can be transferred into YouTube. That's
right now we only use YouTube links on the platform, so you cannot use Vimeo links. Right now it's only YouTube, and it cannot be listed as private. It has to be listed as unlisted or public. So obviously I recommend you all have it unlisted, because probably you've got a paid course, so you don't want to have it public to the whole world. But don't make sure it's not listed as private, because it won't show on Genius U because of YouTube's privacy controls.
Yes, and hence we are happy to transfer those recordings and make sure that they are in your micro degrees as we're building it throughout the days. Do we have any other questions? Does anyone want to jump in and have any other questions?
I have a couple.
Yeah.
For the videos, can we just do them on Zoom and then upload the Zooms?
Yes. So everyone, we have once we've decided with you guys in the next 7 days when you're going to set them, our team will go and populate the webinar links for you, and give you the access to join that Zoom account. The main reason why we're doing this is because our team will be tracking attendance, following up with participants if they said they were coming and they didn't show up. So you don't have to do any of it. So yes, it will be a Zoom video recorded automatically to a cloud account. Our team will, so the Entrepreneur Summer School team will grab those recordings and turn them into a YouTube link and then add them into your micro school.
Paulina, hey,
Yes.
How you doing? Just for their welcome page, they can do a Zoom recording and send to us. You're talking more about the delivery of the program, which we are going to be managing, so we can like track engagement and everything. But there are a couple of videos you need to do for your welcome page. And if you want to do a welcome video for your micro school, yes, you can do them to Zoom, but I think they need to be converted to YouTube, right, Kathleen?
Yes, they do.
Yeah. So yes, they do, but they can be on your YouTube, obviously, channel when you submit your welcome page survey. Have your link in there, and we can add it to your welcome page, and you can add your.
Are you talking, Simone, the welcome page inside the circle or the welcome page outside the circle?
I'm talking about the one inside the circle. So this is the one that some of you have already submitted. So your circle's been created and you've got different tabs across the top, and you won't have a welcome tab until we create your welcome page. And the welcome page is really, the content that should be on that is on the form that we sent you. So we've given you a structure. So what's included, welcome from you, what the first steps are, that sort of thing. So I'm talking about the one in the circle. Yeah.
And normally when you create your circle, you can go down to the bottom and change your welcome page. Will the welcome page you create be changeable by us, or will it just be like once it's created, that's that?
Kathleen or Paulina, you know the answer to that one?
So welcome pages, when they're uploaded from sites, you would have to then have access to edit the site, which would have to be confirmed by the team. I think they can give you like the HTML code for it. And then if you have a web developer, they can do it. I believe they build it on HTML or PHP, which some of you may know about, and I may be speaking a foreign language to others. But that welcome page is like, it's like building a website page. So it's not editable inside of GeniusU. You would have to edit, but you can replace the welcome page with your own website page. So if you have like a home page for your website or your course, you can just put that URL in there and it'll change the welcome page out in the circle for you.
Did that answer the question? Perfect. Awesome. Any other questions? When will the welcome pages be created? We are starting to build them this week. So for the mentors who have already submitted their welcome survey, we are building this week. So it will show up in the next 7 days for you. So you will have them. So we're, pardon?
You show us where to, sorry, Susan, go ahead.
Is it possible to redo it? Because now that I've done the course, I'd like to actually change the welcome page for some of the content. So can I just go back into that same link and redo it and resubmit it, or does somebody need to resend it?
Yep,
Okay.
I can just put yours on hold. That's fine. I can do that.
I think there's just a couple of points I wanted to add. So.
Okay, cool.
Can I ask
Lisa?
a question just about the new mentor circle page? You know where it says welcome page URL, and it says to make the circle visually attractive for your new circle members. Do you know that part? Do you know the part I'm talking about?
Yeah, that's the welcome page URL that the team's going to be building for you. And so in the future, you can add your own URL to a website that you have, or you can use the one that they've already created for you. And there's just a piece of code in there that resizes it, because basically all we're doing is like inputting information from another website into GeniusU. So the little resizer code you stick in the header of your website, or you can get your developer or team member to do it for you. And then it just allows it to show inside of GeniusU in that welcome page section.
So but do I need to build anything, or do I just need to give the information?
So as soon as you've done the webinar survey for us, the mentor survey for us,
yeah,
we will build that that welcome page for you.
All right.
If
cool.
you in future, if you want to shift and create your own, you're more than welcome to. But for this particular purpose, you don't need to do. You don't need to build anything.
Okay, cool. Great. Thank you.
Pleasure.
And just to show quickly where the payment exemptions go, which I mentioned, and I know Lisa has just asked about, if you make your degree paid. So this is on the very, very first page. So it's on the welcome page itself of your micro school. If I've made it paid, this section is going to show up down below, which is payment exemptions. You can either add, like, for example, you can add a GeniusU user not by their name, by their email address. So these are all the email addresses on GeniusU, or you can just upload a CSV. So if you know you've got like 15 people who bought a product, you can just upload a CSV file that you will create, which is basically just, if you make an Excel spreadsheet and then you save it as a CSV and you just upload it, it should just be a list of email addresses, and that'll just import it into GeniusU. You hit save and then they can access it from their GeniusU account. Do make sure you're using their GeniusU account email address, otherwise it won't matter. They won't be able to access it if you add their Gmail or their Hotmail that doesn't have a GU account. So just make sure you double check all those emails.
And for the Entrepreneur Summer School, the participants who are choosing your modules, we will upload them in there so that they will get an exemption. So you don't have to worry about that. As soon as we know who's going into your module, we will upload them before the course starts.
And do we list ours as paid, or, I mean, how do we do that? How much is the pay? Do you know what I mean? Like, how do we?
You mean your micro school?
Yeah, we have to list it as paid or free. How do we, like, what do
Yes.
we do that?
So the recommendation is, Kathleen just given us said, is to put it in as a paid product, so that not everyone who feels like wanting to join it can join it. Kathleen, do you have an indication for the 1 week micro schools? What is a good price point? I spoke to Suraj about this actually the other day, but
yeah, no, I don't really have an indication. I listed mine as $250 because it was the first number that came to mind. But like, if you're already running programs or products, price it as you would your own. And I think, you know, if the team decides that they want it to be one price across all so that it's like an indication of value, then they'll let you know that. But yeah, right now I don't have a best practice on that.
So I would, the recommendation I would give is to look at where it sits in your customer pathway. If it is a free lead magnet, which you'll turn into the micro degree later, I would set it at something like 97 US, because it is the first step in your customer pathway. If you're already building in your own business 1 week courses and you have a different price point on them, that's the price point I would use. Whatever works in your customer pathway, if that makes sense. Yeah, perfect. I am back from holiday, which means you guys can bombard me with as many questions as you like. If I don't have an answer, I'll bombard Kathleen. It's all right. She's going on a long weekend, but that's okay. But no, like, honestly, if you guys have any questions, as you're building it, you're wanting to do, either the GeniusU community team or myself, just reach out and we'll work it out together. I'm sure there will be, we will have fun doing so. So the encouragement, I'll just quickly share my screen because I have only a couple of more slides to share. But basically, don't forget, this is the team. We are led by Sam. We have myself and Andrea, Ria, and Jacob F as the community managers. So jump on board and help, ask us if we need anything. I will give you access to those slides like last time, so you can actually refer back to them. Here are the steps for you guys. So if you haven't done yet, make sure you create your GeniusU circle. You take the mentor survey. Join our WhatsApp group where you can ask any questions you like. Join our mentor circle. So we actually have created a mentor circle where all these videos are sitting, so you can refer back to them. And then also join the main Entrepreneur Summer. So all these are links. You can jump in the main Entrepreneur Summer circle where all the participants are being filtered to right now. So that's for you to have access to the participants. And there has been already some communication, like where participants are starting to introduce themselves and where mentors are jumping in saying, hey, I'm the mentor of such and such course. Really looking forward to connecting with you throughout the journey. So it is really valuable for you guys to jump in there and start talking to the participants. But they are the main ways. You can either email me, you can go into the mentor circle or into the WhatsApp group. They're all communication, whatever way you prefer. I will be able to then communicate with you directly if you have any questions. So that is us. Unless anyone else has a question today, Woon, don't run away. I need you in the end of this. But does anyone else have any other questions before we finish for today?
Just one. Sorry,
Go ahead.
Harris.
Go ahead.
Two mechanics.
So, well, when you go into Genius U to create a circle, what type of circle are we creating?
Community.
Always create a community circle. This is my ground rule for all circles on Genius U. Your company circle automatically gets created. So for those of you creating a new company, it will automatically come with a circle. And obviously, like, you can link your all of your courses you ever create to that company so that it's always showing under there. But yeah, whenever you're creating like a new circle on Genius U, I just recommend you create a community circle, because all circles are communities. But also we're going to be removing some of those options in the future.
So,
Thank you.
so for me, I would be creating a circle called speaker sales, because that's the part of this that I'm doing. And then would I add in that there's another place to add circle? Would I add in other circles and put Moira there? Because that's my other circle.
So you have, there's a suggested circles area. So you can then like link your company circle or any other circles you've got there as well that you want people to go to. And as for like where you link courses to your company, when you actually create a course, at the very top it says link to company, and then you have to link it to a company, and it also says link to circle, which is where the primary circle is. So you want that probably linked to the circle related to the course, but in the future you can change that to your company circle when you open it up to other people. And then in circles themselves, on the sidebar where you've got like your mentor information, your about section, there's also a featured microdegrees section. So even if it's not the primary microdegree of that circle, you might want to feature all of your courses there anyway in your company circle, for example. So lots of ways to link all these things together and create these endless loops that people can get stuck into when they're interested in you and what you're doing.
So when I created my company, it created a circle for it, but I don't know how to create another circle for this product related to my company. Where am I doing that?
Yeah, so you can't link more than, like, your company only has one circle at this point. So when you're creating another circle, you're going to do that from the circles page on Genius U. You'll see an orange button that says create circle, or inside of your dashboard under your circle section, there's also a button that says create new circle.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that, but I'll look again.
Cool. Awesome. All right. Well, we will be back next Wednesday. So you guys aren't alone. You can get hold of us at any given time, but also next Wednesday, we're going to jump in again and give you some more content, some more information to make sure that we are building this as we go, and that by the time the 31st of August hits, every one of us has created the structure of a circle. Feel free to reach out to me at any time, and I will bombard Kathleen with all the questions I don't have answers to. So she's already looking forward to hearing from me too. Yay.
I'm in the WhatsApp group, so if there's any like immediate questions when you're building your circles or micro courses or whatever, just drop them in there, and I'm happy to send either tutorials or answers as I have them.
Awesome, fantastic, because she is the one who has all the answers when it comes to the Genius U platform. All right, guys, you all have a fabulous evening, morning, mid-afternoon, wherever you are. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us at 5 a.m. in the morning. It's pretty impressive. I'm loving it. And I will see you guys all next week. We will be touching base all week long. And Kathleen, you enjoy your weekend.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to approving all of your micro school pages, guys. It's going to be cool to see them up there.
Thanks.
Anyway,
Bye.
see you later. Bye.